And this book is about a book. So, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, so I bought a ring light that I wanted to try out, but I think it's making me look really pink, or I am just really pink right now because it's been so hot recently in Korea. Okay, I think this makes me look a little bit more normal. It's been so hot in Korea already for me, and I have spring allergies, so I'm just like sneezing all the time. My nose is all clogged up and stuffy, so I don't think I look very nice right now. But testing out the ring light, you can see the little indentations on my glasses, and let's get started. And this video is a April monthly wrap-up. So this month I only read 4 books. I'm actually impressed I managed to read 4 books because my April was so packed with like assignments and all that. So I had presentations for one class every week. So I had 3 presentations in a row, and then I had a first draft. I had 2 essays due, like one out due the week after the other. So I'm actually impressed I was able to read as much as I was. And yeah, so let's get to the books. I'm gonna talk about them in order of when I read them. So the first book I finished on April 1st, so I'm counting it as April read, is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. And this book, I feel like I don't have to summarize what this book's about, but let me try my best. So this book is the start of a series. It is a dystopian YA novel in which I think climate change has just really caused the earth to kind of like get all messy. So birds don't exist anymore. A lot of wildlife and nature has disappeared, I think. And the main character, Juliet, she is currently in an asylum. So the one thing I wasn't sure is I think she's being held in an asylum that's that's owned by the current government, called the Reestablishment. And she has a very special power that at her touch, a person dies. So if she touches you, you die. So she's held in this asylum. She's been held here, I want to say, for like maybe 3 to 5 years, I think. It's not too long, but it wasn't like a short time either. So she's been held there for several years, and one day somebody comes into her cell, and it's a face she knows from her past. And so yeah, and then as the summary says, she found the strength to fight back and to find a future with the person she reunited with. I rated this a 3.5. Like, I had fun reading it, but I didn't like absolutely love it. And you can very easily see the early 2000s YA dystopian novel writing with this, which makes sense because it was published in that time. But when you read it now with all the current books that have come out, you find it a very distinct style of writing that you're like, this is very clearly from the early 2010s. So yeah, so it was fun reading it. I didn't absolutely love it, but I didn't hate it. I had fun reading it. I am wanting to see how well Warner redeems himself to become the fan favorite that he is right now, because he is like absolutely a red flag in this book. And I'm like, from the things he's done, I don't know how well does he redeem himself for people to be okay with to like absolutely love him. So yeah, Shatter Me, Tahereh Mafi, 3.5 out of 5. And then the next book I read, I want to say it's Gallant by Schwab. I rated this a 4.5. So let me try to summarize this too. So our main character is Olivia Priors. She is an orphan. She doesn't know who her parents are, and the only thing she has is like a journal from her mother that's like kind of split 3 ways. So the first half of the writing seems like it seems normal. It's just a normal journal. But then the second half, it kind of seems like her mom went crazy or just something isn't right with her mom anymore. And then the third part is that there are random drawings throughout the journal and she doesn't know what they mean or who did them. So that's the only memento she has of her mom, perhaps her parents. And then one day she gets a letter from her uncle saying that he wants to bring her back to the mansion, the Gallant mansion, because they've been looking for her for all these years and they found her. So she goes to the mansion, which is called Gallant, but then she realizes that her uncle died a year ago, I think. And the one who's in charge of the house now is her cousin, her older cousin, and he is not happy with finding out that she's a prior and that she's here. But then something happens and he's just like, you know what, you can stay here for now, but you're gonna have to leave later. And then as the deadline for that approaches, I guess, she starts to explore the house, and then she kind of she realizes something is not wrong, but something is, they're hiding something from her that she knows is connected to her mom's journal and what was written in there. And as she's trying to find out the family history and the secrets and like the role she plays in it, there's somebody who's after her who is a dark master, and he has been waiting for her for a very specific purpose. And yeah, that is the summary that I can give for the book. I rated this 4.5 out of 5. It was my first V. Schwab book ever. And I just want to say I absolutely loved the writing. And if any of her other books are of this style of writing, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. I took off 0.5 for just minor reasons, just because I freaking loved the writing in this story. Okay, I don't know what it was, but I think it's because like right now I'm really into the kind of shadowy the shadowy aesthetic / vibes, and I think she did a really good job in just doing that slow, that subtle, creepy, gothic vibes, like the build up and all that. I think she did that really well. One thing that I took 0.5 off for was the characters. I didn't hate them, but I just couldn't really find myself caring for them. And at one point I was like, I couldn't care less for the characters as much as I cared for the writing. So yeah, like I didn't really like, they were just characters. Nothing of them stood out to me to make me like them. So yeah, I didn't really care for the characters, and I thought the dealing with the climax was kind of disappointing for me, because I loved the slow build up that we had going to the climax, but then I felt like the way it was resolved was just done so quickly, like so oddly quickly, that I was kind of like, the build up seemed like such a waste because it ended so quickly and like a little too cleanly. Is that even the right word to say? Anyways, so I thought that was a shame. So I didn't care for the characters, as bad as that sounds, and I thought the resolution and like the climax and stuff was pretty disappointing. But again, I absolutely love the writing. This is one, I think, I wouldn't say it would make you scared, but it is, I think it would be really fun to read like at nighttime. So yeah, V. Schwab Gallant, 4.5 out of 5. The third book I read is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, and it is my third Simone St. James book that I read of hers. I read The Broken Girls and The Sundown Motel. This one I also rated 4 stars, but I think I might drop it to a 3.5. And the reason for that is that while I absolutely loved the way Simone St. James incorporated supernatural mystery. Oh my gosh, I have to go pick up cake. Where's my phone? Okay, so as I was saying, as much as I loved the way, oh my gosh, she incorporated supernatural mystery into true crime mystery in The Broken Girls, I felt like she didn't do it that well in The Sundown Motel, and then even less so in The Book of Cold Cases. Like, I feel like in terms of integration and how well they mesh together. It was better in the Book of Cold Cases, but it didn't feel as, I don't know, it just didn't deliver as well in both books. Give me a quick second. Okay, as I was saying. And so for the Sundown Motel, I really was intrigued by the ghost story, like the haunted motel. But I was a little confused as to why some of the ghosts were there, because they didn't seem related to the main mystery, the main crime mystery plot. And it didn't make sense as to why they were ghosts that stuck there in the motel. And then the Book of Cold Cases, it just didn't feel necessary because it made it scarier, but I don't really know what it added to the actual true crime mystery part of the plot. Like, that part was really interesting, and I don't think the supernatural aspect was necessarily that needed. And yeah, I think that's it. Nothing was super interesting about the book, so 3.5, 4 stars out of 5. The Book of Cold Cases by summary. So the Book of Cold Cases is about, I don't remember the main character's name. It's about a main character. She has a main job as a clinic secretary, I believe, but on her like off hours, she runs a true crime blog called The Book of Cold Cases, where she writes about like all sorts of crimes, big ones or ones that readers tell her to like, hey, you should look this one up. And then in her town there was this really big one called the Lady Killer case, and one day she meets the biggest suspect called Beth. And then she well, first she tries to stalk her, but then Beth catches her, and then she's like, you know what, you can interview me, come to my house tomorrow, blah blah blah. So she goes, and then but then when she goes to get a drink, and then she encounters like a really weird supernatural happening, and she's kind of like, so is Beth messing with me, or is there something else in the house? And then it's kind of like, and then from then on she starts to try to solve the mystery, like what really happened, who was the real lady killer. And it alternates between the present time, through the main character's point of view, and occasionally Beth's, and also Beth's point of view in the past during the times of the lady killer killings. So yeah, 3.5 to 4. And then my final book is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this book is about a girl called Avery Graham who has like her future plans set out. She's going to graduate high school, she's gonna get a scholarship, and she's going to, I think, basically just leave the town and like try to get a better life. But then one day her sister contacts her, and she's like, so you've been getting a call, and it turns out there's a billionaire called Tobias Hawthorne who dies, and he had her as a name in his will. So she goes to the hearing, or I think that's what they call it. She goes to like the will hearing or something, and then she and the family finds out that he left the family like a specific set of money, but literally everything else he left to her. And everybody's like, what the heck is going on? Like, who are you? Why would he leave it to you? And she also doesn't know because she's never met him before. And he has 4 grandsons. 2 are like the main players in this book. So they're Grayson and Jameson Hawthorne. Grayson was the most favored heir. Like, people thought he was going to be the heir apparent. And Jameson was not, but he was like the grandfather's favorite or something. Tobias's favorite. And Grayson thinks that Avery is a con woman who somehow managed to trick their grandfather into leaving her his inheritance. But Jameson, because he's like the most similar to Tobias. He's like, I think your you're a puzzle or a game that our grandpa left behind for us to solve. So that's what this book is about. They solve the puzzles that he's left behind in an effort to find out why did he leave her the inheritance. I rated this 2.5. I did not have fun reading it. Let me see. So I think the biggest problem is you read this book with the expectation you're gonna find out why he picked her, and in a way you kind of do, but it's also like not really. Like, you actually have to read the second book to fully find out the answer. But then it's kind of like, then what was the point of the first book if like we're not gonna find out why she was picked? And if the thing that I'm thinking of is the reason why she was picked, it was a really stupid reason. Like, I'm so sorry to say this, but I genuinely thought it was so stupid and just so needless. That's like, you shouldn't have even made her heir apparent if it was gonna be for this reason. And it's just like, ugh. It was so anticlimactic that it was stupid. And also, there was this subplot, like a really major subplot of so there was a girl called Emily who we find out she died, and Avery kind of gets like, it's kind of implied that she's Emily's replacement. Like, that's how everyone's seeing her as. And while normally in webtoons I'm like totally down for the angst that could come from being the replacement, I didn't care for the characters to enjoy that angst or drama. And that subplot just took up a surprisingly large amount of the plot. Like, at one point I was like, what is even the main plot? Like, I was confused as to whether this whole Emily thing, if that was actually the main plot or not, because of how big it started to play a part in the book. Like, I was absolutely shocked to see just how much of that part took over the book's plot, as opposed to like the grandpa's like puzzle and like why did he leave her the inheritance. So I thought that was so weird, and I still don't feel satisfied from finding everything out. Like, I'm kind of like, I feel like this was kind of a waste of my time. So yeah, I feel like this is the harshest I've been with the book, but I just didn't see the point of this book, and I am not curious enough to pick up the sequel to find out more. So that was it. That was all I read for April. I had a bit of a downward slope. It was up, then it went kind of down. And I figured since I got some book mail today, I'll just share what I got. So I got 3 things. I got 2 manga volumes and I got 1 classic. I got Paradise Lost by John Milton. I got it because I've had like 2 of my classes reference the book, and obviously like Frankenstein references too. So I feel like it's an important, maybe not important, important book to have under my, I don't know what the word is, my roster? That's not the right word. Like, an important book to have read, especially since I am a literature student. So I'm gonna read it and hopefully understand enough about it. And then my next 2 things I got are Tokyo Aliens volumes 1 and 2. These are the only ones they have translated in Korean so far, and I think they only have volume 1 translated in English. But from what I understand, this one is about how the world right now, aliens are not that, so aliens are on Earth. However, they can disguise themselves to look like humans, and they just come in here for travel. Like, Earth is like a travel spot basically, but obviously there's rules they have to follow and like passports and all that, and there's a secret police force that deals with the aliens. And it starts off with our main character, or one of our main characters, this guy. he gets on the train station and like, why is nobody getting on this station? Like, it's an empty cart or something. So he gets on, and then he finds out that it's because it was like a train car that only aliens can get on, but somehow he was able to get on it. And then he finds out that the super popular like the most popular classmate of his is one of the policemen of the force, and then he gets dragged into the whole thing. Yeah, I'm excited. I mainly got it because I saw this cover and I was like, I gotta get it. But yeah, so that's what I read in April and what I got today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how your April went. Let me know if you got any new books you're excited to read. If you read Paradise Lost, let me know what you thought. If you read Tokyo Aliens somehow, let me know what you thought. Oh, let me know your thoughts on these two books, because I'm very curious, because this one I do also compare a lot to Coraline, because I just really got strong Coraline vibes from this book too. So if you read these, let me know what you thought, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.